In today's video, I will explain how to learn a language based on the latest scientific research, even if you don't think you're talented. I will talk about what language talent is, when it matters, what affects how well you learn, and share practical tips to help you improve your language skills. Let's begin. Does talent for languages exist? Are some people just good at learning languages and others are not? Typically, when we try to define language talent, we refer to the innate ability to learn a new language. But what does it mean exactly? Let's break it down. Language talent is not a secret gene that makes you capable of learning new languages. According to Carroll's four-factor model, it involves four different abilities. Phonetic coding, which is the ability to identify, discriminate, and remember new sounds to develop accurate pronunciation. Another component is grammatical sensitivity to understand the structures and patterns. Rote learning ability to learn and retain foreign words. And lastly, inductive learning ability to infer rules and patterns from what we read and hear. But how important is language talent in learning a second language? Luckily, it's not that important. First of all, I must say that language learning is accessible to everyone and not just for the talented. In fact, language talent is not fixed and it is partially trainable. Innate abilities may help, but are not the only determinants of success. Whether or not language talent is important depends on the learning context. You can attend a course in a language classroom, or you can speak to other speakers of that language and surround yourself with it to have an immersive experience. Or you can have both. Talent seems more important in formal classrooms, which involve formal learning, like completing grammar tasks. In naturalistic, so immersive environments, talent is not as important. Modern classrooms are shifting toward more naturalistic approaches. Many classrooms now blend grammar-focused teaching with communicative approaches, for example, by introducing role-playing. There are other factors that also play a role in how well and how quickly we learn languages. We have different levels of attention, motivation, working memory capacity, attitude, age, and learning context. While we can't control all of them, some really depend on us. There are cognitive factors like working memory and metalinguistic awareness. Although these two cannot be improved overnight, they can be trained by consistently practicing language learning. Another group is the engagement levels, such as willingness to communicate with classmates or native speakers despite making mistakes, seeking feedback and using it as learning opportunity, and committing to lifelong learning. There are affective factors that often depend on one's personality, but are changeable. For example, motivation, how well you can tolerate not understanding every single thing, staying positive despite challenges, being flexible, and taking responsibility for your own learning. Strategic competence, which also depends on one's approach. It involves planning, monitoring, noticing gaps in current knowledge, and acting on them. Now you know what influences language learning and that it is much more than just talent. So now it's time to learn how to be better at language learning. The notion of a good language learner includes behaviors, attitudes, and strategies that facilitate effective learning. And they are all dependent on your approach. Good language learners are active participants in their learning journey. They constantly seek to optimize their methods. They engage with authentic materials such as texts, social media, YouTube videos. Adapt to the sociocultural nuances of the target language. Now you know what good language learners do, so how can you use this knowledge to improve your language learning journey? Here are 5 tips for you on how to become a good language learner. First of all, actively participate in your language learning journey, also outside of the classroom. Be willing to guess, practice frequently, be curious and pay attention to form as well as meaning. Actively manipulate language input, summarize texts, analyze grammar, try to remember vocabulary, and revise. Plan, monitor, and evaluate your learning. Set realistic goals, track progress, adapt your methods based on success. After you think you've learned something, ask yourself questions to see how much you really remember. Actively seek opportunities to use the language in authentic contexts, such as engaging with native speakers. At the beginning, it may be challenging, but it may help you get more comfortable with what you already know, and at higher proficiency levels, it makes you realize how language is really used depending on the context. Don't say, "I will speak once I learn properly." Find ways to express what you want to say without precise vocabulary. Accept that you make and you will make mistakes. Everyone who has mastered a skill once was bad at it, and treat language learning like that as well. You will not sound like a native speaker, at least not at the beginning, and this doesn't have to be your goal at all. We've covered a lot of possibly new knowledge, so let's recap. Remember when we talked about Carroll's four-factor model? Language talent is not a unique, innate characteristic, but a combination of multiple factors, and many of them can be developed through practice and effort. People of any age and experience level can start learning a language and make meaningful progress. Language aptitude plays a role in the language learning process, but it is not fixed. Success is driven by motivation, consistent effort, and the willingness to learn. Having a positive attitude makes a real change. Take feedback as a growth opportunity and engage in real-life practice. And lastly, enjoy the learning process and celebrate small milestones. The process matters as much as the outcome. And what do you think is the most important factor in language learning? I would love to hear about your experiences and your stories. Please let me know in the comments.